All right. Hopefully the internet hasn't deteriorated, and it has. Let me try and fix that. How's everyone doing? So this is what's on the bench today. The discussion the other day, I don't know how many of you caught it, about, well, mostly it was a rant. I don't want to call it a discussion. Let's be fair, I was ranting. The rant the other day about FM1 inspired me to actually bench it again on stream. Also the fact that I have a new board. So this is the UD4H, but to be fair, there's not a lot of difference. It's kind of sad that I'm out of breath. I only went down one set of stairs, grabbed a drink, and came back up again. But that's what an ISO will do to you. So D2H. It's the A77 or A75. So none of them. Let's have a quick look. So what I've got on the bench right now is this. And what I was previously using was this. Not support, but rather the picks. Come on. Well, the zoom level is deceiving. Yeah, so there's a few, like the IO chip over here is different. From what I can see, let me see. So that's 6 inductors or whatever. Yeah, so there is actually different VRM. Let me just grab the board. I think it's a D2H, or is it a UD2H? D3H. Okay. No, not this board. A75 D3H. I thought it wasn't an M80X. That's what confused me. So let's do this again. So yeah, still not the same VRM, and funnily enough, it has the VRM cooling pins or holes, but it doesn't have the heatsink itself. And I sort of wonder whether you could just take the heatsink off of this. But I think I went 2018 when there was a Team Cup stage for this. I think I went up to 1.9 V core or something, and I didn't see any issues. So they've both got the single 8 pin. Yeah, a few placement differences. So you've got 3 PCIs here. Very minor stuff, to be honest. The chipset cooler for some reason is a different shape and size. Otherwise, very, very similar. In terms of what's actually in BIOS, the only thing I noticed was that this board on the bench right now for CPU North Bridge, which is important for, well, on this platform, I don't think you can set the CPU North Bridge multiplier, so it's fixed to BCLK. But anyway, at high BCLK, you might have to push that more. And on the D3H, it goes up to 1.4. Hey Ginger, how you doing? It goes up to 1.45. On this board, it goes up to 1.75. So in the benching sense, very, very few differences. But I got a good deal on it. It's always good to have a backup board. I think Bilco's board, I don't know what board Bilco's using. So basically what we did in 2018, we were both in the r/overclocking hardware bot team at the time. Bilko temporarily, me, well, somewhat permanently. And so we're having a bench session together, a GPU Pi bench session, and whatever board he had, I think it was an MATX, like a UD2H or something. There's lots of different gigabyte boards, but for whatever reason, they're all pretty much the same. His board actually had some sort of a cold bug, so we ended up using my D3H, and it did quite well, to be fair. Yeah, so let's get back into it now. I'd like to first install the tweaker application, actually. Drink. No, that's not a command. It's beer. It's a little bit early for that. I have put in some. I've attempted to put some humor into Nightbot. I don't know how successful that attempt has been. So, is it called APU Tweaker? There's an app. There's basically a few things. There is easy tuning. Yes, they have. I love it when XP is still in the drop down list. That tells me that I'm benching a good platform. When they don't dick around with OS support because it's so goddamn old. Let's try easy tune. So, for those who are not aware, exFAT. So this is a 32 gig memory stick. So it has to be, in order to, what is it again? In order to have files bigger than 4 gigabytes on there, you have to format it NTFS or exFAT. And I have difficulties on my XPs to get that running. So I have an XP USB stick somewhere. And that's where I'm gonna throw everything. Nightbot is not Aussie. What a mess. What a mess. Here's my breakfast. Yeah. Laugh all you want. Let's have a bit of breakfast while we're downloading this utility. Hey, Hardware Barbecue. How are you doing? So there's another utility called Lano Tweaker or APU Tweaker. Let me see if I have it on my NAS. Fusion Tweaker, that's the one. And there's a 32-bit version, so that's nice. Okay, Fusion Tweaker and where's our UD? Okay, let's actually reboot. that was dumb of me. My stream rig is this. For those who haven't heard the story of my Threadripper one breaking down. So that's just next to my feet under my desk. So I don't really want to be plugging shit into that. So I'm going to download this utility again on my laptop. So that is, I basically just took whatever components I could find. Let me see. Can I point to it with my big toe? maybe that's not the best idea. Maybe I'll get flagged for nudity or something. So I'll just describe it visually without pointing at it. That's a Crosshair 6 Hero. It's got a NVMe SSD in there. That's where I record my streams onto. Obviously got just a Hyper 212 Evo, 1700X, a Vega Nano, and a Blackmagic quad HDMI capture card, and just some random B-die in there. If you want to know more details, here's a kit.co link to with all the Amazon links and all that crap. Remember the good times we had real chipset heatsink? Yes. That UD screen? What do you mean? Blue bias is best bias. What the hell? Come on. You know better than that. Gigabyte blue bias is best bias. So just downloading EasyTune again. If anyone doesn't know, on the older gigabytes at least, F9 gives you this screen where it tells you, it's kind of like the system information screen on Asus boards. So this board has the old style dual bias where you have a main and a backup bias, but the backup bias always gets flashed. It's one of the two things. Either the backup bias always stays on the oldest version, or it also always gets flashed with the main bias, because there's no single bias jumper or switch, and there's no bias A/B switch. So the backup is purely there when the system deems the main bias to be unusable. Okay, let's get a basic setup going here. So these chips are unlocked in the sense that you can go to the max multi of the platform, but the max multi is 47. So when we were running this on LN2 2 years ago, BCLK overclocking it was quite critical actually, because the highest multiplier you can ever set is 47, which is, I mean, you couldn't do that on ambient, but that's just, 4.7 gigahertz is a pitiful overclock on LN2. I did 6G. I couldn't validate it, but I have a, or just under 6G. I think I did it at 5999 point something, and it just wouldn't do one more BCLK for me at that multiplier, so that was sad. So yeah, unlocked. This is a KSQ 3670K, but we want min multiplier for now. So there is unlocked CPU Northbridge. Yeah, let's just see if we can post the lowest multi on both. C3, 01, 9F, E5, 26. 26 is, on most boards, 26 means you're posting. You can sometimes hang on 26, but all things considered, that's a pretty rare occurrence. I can white shark. I'll come back to the capture card. There's a story behind that. Okay, so let's boot like 115 BCLK. Volts all on auto. Where's our strap? Okay, so here's our memory strap. So the highest memory strap is, let's go back to 100, 1866. 1866. Oh, hey Ella. Thanks for joining again. Good to see you back into benching in some sense. Keep it up. I mean, I know that you're kind of concerned about the cost of it and stuff, but you know, maybe you can get back into it in a small way. You know, old school benching, like 775 and stuff, isn't doesn't hurt the bank that much. So I think the I'm just going to keep an eye on the vid as well, because I want to see if I can vid bin here. I've started to do that on AMD ever since Alabello pointed out to me that on AM3 it's a thing. On 939 I now know it isn't a thing, because I checked all my chips and they all have, for a given SKU, they have the same vid. So unless I got really unlucky, that points out to me that it's not a thing. I just want, talking about memory straps, even though the top memory strap is 1866, it seems really crazy, but actually at one point FM1 was the platform for DDR3 validations, which that was I think basically, people please correct me if I'm wrong, but basically FM1 came out ahead of Ivy and certainly ahead of Haswell, and I think versus Sandy Bridge or LGA 1366 it was better, just by a little bit. Am I doing this right? Where's Christian Ney? The hell? There we go. So lots of preamble today, but I just haven't been having the best week, so just trying to take things easy here. So here you can see these are the top submissions on FM1 for memory frequency, and you can see that it almost did 4000 megahertz. So one of my back burner projects basically is to maybe go for 4000. Now that's a big ask. So I think, I don't know, I mean, Ney is a memory god. One of these was a DDR3 world record. At the time, DDR4 didn't exist, so it was actually a memory frequency world record when submitted. Let's have a look at the best one. Does this have? Yeah. So this, I think this was a world record. Let's just confirm. It wasn't a competition stage or anything, was it? No. I think that was a world record. Let me just double check. So I don't know how familiar you guys are with the submission engine on a hardware bot, but if you restrict by date here and restrict by IC, you can kind of see whether it was the world record at the time. Okay, so this was when Haswell was already out, so we need to go a year earlier maybe. Another year earlier. So maybe around the 2012 sort of era. Yeah, okay, so this is not his best submission, but it makes, like, it illustrates my point that mid 2012, the memory frequency, I can actually just remove the DDR3 part of it, because the overall memory frequency world record was on FM1 by Christian Ney on LN2 BFR, I don't know if MFR wasn't out yet. Maybe someone can tell me. But this is pretty cool stuff. Like, I think I've looked into this before. I think if I remember right, you basically full pot both. Certainly FM1 full pots. I'm not sure if that's really what the IMC likes. Nay is usually pretty good about he's pretty good about filling in all the details. So here you see it, full pot on the chip, full pot on the stick, and then obviously really loose timings. Let me grab a little bit of food and then I'll try and catch up with chat. Back in my day, I just think this kind of crap is just, I love this stuff, you know? Here's a platform that had virtually no benching relevance whatsoever in any benchmark at the time because Sandy and Ivy were just better all around. But for a brief moment in time, it held the memory frequency world record. You know, that's kind of insane. So you can remember the good times we had a real chipset heatsink. Are you referring to the Crosshair 6? Can grill some meat on those. Again, is it FM1 you're talking about or the stream rig? So Keep, what are you currently using for streaming? I might be able to give you some tips on that. I kind of went through a journey for my stream rig. I started off streaming from my laptop, very quickly realized that it was bottlenecking because you need quite a bit of, I don't know if you use OBS, but I use OBS, and you need quite a bit of GPU horsepower to get streaming. So that's why I moved on to first an M-ATX Ryzen build with the 1800X in there, but I just don't want to daily that chip because that chip is the highest clocking, well, not for valids, but the highest benchable first gen Ryzen chip known to exist. So I just want to put that in an anti-static bag in a drawer somewhere and preserve it. I don't want to stream on it. And around the time I was giving up, and I was also running out of PCIe lanes for all the capture cards and things. So it kind of made sense to move on to the Threadripper rig with the Tai Chi, the M-ATX Tai Chi. Let me just boot some sane settings and I'll continue story time. Ooh, weird how it wraps around like that. So 1066. I don't know if this is going to do anything, but let's go classic classic PSTC timings 9, 13, 9 or even 10, who cares? I don't want to over loosen it, but let's see. Manual, and so just to illustrate, so this is an offset, but see 1.75 CPU Northbridge, which is might be relevant for like DDR max valid, but for benching that is just pretty intense. So we have VTT control and really nice for valids and things. We have, I wish there was a faster way of doing this. I don't think page up, page down works. No, it doesn't. Quality content on here. So I think it's 2.13 or so. Even, yeah, 2.13 on the DDR voltage. I'm just gonna go a little bit above stock, maybe 1.6, 1.7. Nice low ambient temps here, so how about 1.65? HPT off. Where's my fan control? I just want full fan. Okay. Let's catch up with chat again. I'm going to boot that. Yeah, so keep, just if you can tell me, like 10900X, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, you kind of want, I would say you want six cores or above for streaming. You want, for graphics card, you probably want like 1060 or above, or like what I have, like a Vega 56. I'm sure like a 290X or something would do fine as well, but you just have to be aware that even though all it's doing is just stitching together the little video streams, you do need a bit of graphics power. So let us have a look here. So that posted fine, that's good. Okay, or USB has been recognized. Let's first install our Fusion tweaker. No. I think one of these has .NET 2.0 wrapped in. So I'm going to just see which order I need to install them in. 3 different UEFI BIOS screen. I'm so far behind, sorry, but I will catch up. 3 different designs. Yeah, Gigabyte, they're just known for having lots of different revisions of boards. It's a bit of a mess. Let's see if this works. So 600 euro capture card, yeah. Sounds like a lot. Sorry, I actually didn't really pay any money for it in that sense, because previous to that I was using Camlinks. As my internet has a bit of a hiccup. Come on, internet. I thought the maintenance was over. How's it not booting? I don't get it. I didn't change anything. I just installed something. So the problem I was running into that was costing me a lot of patience, basically, was that as my internet once again is taking a crap. Let me reduce my bitrate. Okay. For whatever reason, it doesn't want to boot that BCLK anymore. Let's see if I can get it into a bootable state by, I guess, going back to stock BCLK. That's the only thing I've really changed. I mean, 900 megahertz is kind of low, so let's temporarily go to something more sane. Yeah, so I was using basically I was using Camlinks, which are these Elgato. I don't get it. I really Like, what did I really change here? Is it just a loose cable or something? Oh, of course, it's trying to boot off of the USB. So I was using Camlink 4K, and those are USB 3 devices. And I had, I think, 2 or 3 of these, and I had a second capture card. So what the hell? I really don't understand this. We're basically at stock settings here. Okay. It does recognize the hard disk. It does have it in its boot order as first device. Oh, did my storage no, it's still native ID. Okay, let's load optimized defaults, I suppose. Don't know if I'm ever going to catch up with chat the way things are going at the moment. Do not show this message again. Really weird. This must have been one of the first platforms that had a HCI or something, because I really don't understand this. I installed a utility and now it won't boot that OS anymore. Just absolutely bizarre. But I can quickly restore it. The more you know. RIP OS indeed. So while that restore is ongoing. So I had 3 cam links and a separate capture card. So I was using up all of the PCIe lanes, or all of the PCIe slots. And what I was also getting was like basically interference between the different USB devices. So I had so many things connected via USB that I would have like robo voice with my mic and stuff. And now I kind of, to be completely honest about this, I kind of took advantage of COVID and sold all my cam links at the right time and my second capture card. So I probably bought them for, in total, I probably bought them for like $500 Australian, and I sold them for close to 1,000. And with that, I bought this four input capture card, which is so much cleaner. I'm still out of PCIe socket slots, but the good thing is I don't have this USB interference stuff anymore. And obviously this quad input gave me an extra input as well. Previously I was limited to 3 cameras, I think. Please load this goddamn operating system. Okay. Well, the first thing I'll do is try and install EasyTune again and then reboot. Yeah. It's just gonna go through its hardware detection dance. So hopefully, White Shark, I've answered that question somehow. I didn't spend any money on this card. I just swapped my existing capture cards for this one capture card, and it gave me an extra input and less hardware headaches. What is going on? Okay, let's give it one more reboot. Okay, catching up on the chat again. Yeah, no worries about the RAM, Ella. Absolutely no dramas there. I have so much stuff to bench. If I don't get those sticks for a month or 2 months, doesn't matter. Oh, of course, now it's going to try and boot off of the USB. Fun. Southbridge is that, or the chipset is actually getting quite warm. Yeah, zero income. Yeah, the synced ones. Did you miss something, or were there older messages? What the hell is going on with this goddamn thing? Maybe a bias reflash is in order. Okay, temps are all okay. Hard disk is recognized. It should default to IDE. Contact Microsoft technical support. For Windows XP, you mean? Come on, just give me a boot. Starting to look through other OSs. Win 10. Jeez, what's with the ultra slow boot? I was completely convinced I wasn't gonna do anything. I really don't get it. What's up here? It still hasn't detected the hardware. Okay, time for a Win 7 then. Fuck it. Fuck it. No, this probably has maximum applied. Yeah, it's a Lumix. It's in my list of streaming, so I have two G7s, a G85, and a GH2. All micro 4/3. It's a good system. They're not as bulky as or as expensive as the other stuff. Okay, let's see if I can find my old FM1 OS. FM1 GPU Pi latest. Nice. While that's happening, let's check out the latest scores. Oh, that's right. That's right. The HyperBot is kind of broken, isn't it? Right now. I was trying to sub some stuff and it was giving me errors. Why? What's game is Nexus streaming? So this is what I subbed the other day. A 460 BCLK, but I have a 463 now. I just can't sub it because HyperBot is having issues. $3,900 XT cold. Well, go in the chat and tell them what they're doing wrong. 30% through the restore, that's not too bad. Can sometimes be slower than that. So yeah, I have an idea in my head that I would do Project 600. So from what I can tell, let's double check that actually. From what I can tell, there's never been 600 BCLK on socket A, which they call, yes, here we go, reference frequency. So yeah, 285. Oh, Nay actually did that on an MSI. That's really interesting. So A obviously didn't do very high BCLK. Next one after that was 939, and there it's like 588 is the top, and I believe 754 isn't as strong. I think Bones has the number one there, yeah, under 500, and then the likes of AM2 and stuff did even worse from what I can remember. Yeah, 570. Interesting board to have that 570 on. What I'm trying to say is there's a couple of sockets on AMD that have done just under 600. So I want to do maybe 600, attempt to do 600. On 939 because I have 5 boards there. Let's go AM2 Plus just out of curiosity for 50. That's not bad. But then obviously the later sockets are actually surprisingly strong. Alright, our restore has finished. Eject drive. Exciting content going on here. Could be a bad SATA cable or SSD as well, to be honest. Yeah, that's right. They stream on YouTube, don't they? And they don't respond to stuff unless it's a super chat. I don't want to count my chickens before they've hatched, but we may have a working OS here. Get fucked. Windows 7. Okay, the only worrying thing is my monitor is not cooperating. Just gonna check the cables and stuff. Still no go. Let me attempt to. Oh, yes, here we go. Beautiful. We have a working monitor, we have a stock system, and we have an OS with EasyTune installed on it. This is amazing stuff. No wonder I'm the #2 overclocker in Australia. Not everyone could get this working. Okay. Same deal again. So 2.7 is the stock. Let's go to like 1.4 and just like start really easy. 110. Memory on manual. Volts on manual. I don't know why it starts at 1 volt. Can someone please tell me about the magical DDR3 memory IC that will actually function at stock at 1 volt? I don't think it exists, so why the fuck does this option exist? So 1.65 again. Everything else is fine. LAN and all that stuff is already off, that's good. And we want the fan on full. Can someone tell me about the history of Gamers Nexus? Like, it's funny how they became such a big authority in the gaming YouTube sort of space. Okay, our Windows is not valid, but I don't really care. So here's our two utilities: FM1 Fusion Tweaker and EasyTune. Let us quickly copy over a new CPU Z so we can actually validate. Linus. Well, I think Linus is a lot of things, but probably not a shill. Then again, I haven't watched Linus in a long time. XOC mode is on. USB try and fail. Fair enough, fair enough. Why did I install NVIDIA drivers on here? That seems a bit weird. So let's see if we have BCLK control on Easy Tune. Indeed we do. Everything else is fixed. So PCIe frequency seems to be linked there. That's interesting. If you change the memory strap here, it just asks you for a reboot. It doesn't actually do that live on the system. We've got our vid. So yeah, this is for BCLK. But then I think Fusion Tweaker might let you do multi and stuff. So this was initially popular for notebooks and things like that because at the time, I don't know if you remember the sort of netbook craze. So people would actually like power tune and overclock their netbooks because they had APUs in them. So let's see if we can apply a load multi here. Indeed we can. Clock can't be set, vid can be set. Lambo as in the Lamborghini branded ones. So if I remember right, on this platform, the iGPU is linked to the BCLK. So I'm using an external PCIe output card, my trusty old GT710, I think. So that should allow higher BCLK as well. Let's try 115. So here's our overall record, 200, which may actually just be the top that you can set. Nay was just a legend. It's kind of sad that he's no longer overclocking. So that was in the process of doing his memory valid. Oh, Yoss has his board. Well, that gives me an incentive to do stuff, doesn't it? On AIO. Okay, let's save a valid. Let's not screw around too much. That's to 110 or 120, I mean. $125. We can beat Yoss. Just one more BCLK. And Yoss is beaten. Besting Yoss, yes. $140. $145. $150. Should probably be showing this screen. So you can see the CPU North Bridge here or here, which is a little annoying in a sense because you want to be able to see when you reach that limit. But I think given that it can go like 2G on air easy, and I think I set it to 5, we should be safe in that sense. And it also, whatever it is about the FM platforms on AMD, you can never see the command rate either. So that's another slight complication. Let's see if Fusion Tweaker tells us any of that information. Yeah, so I don't know how accurate this is, but this is the North Bridge apparently. Okay, 155 is KO. That sounds about right. I think I know what the confusion is about. I think the other board also doesn't have North Bridge support. Multiplier change rather. So that's interesting. That may have limited my BCLK overclocks there. Was I maybe, what's 150 times 14? What party? What party is there tomorrow? Team Cup? Still only 2 gigahertz, so Even so, let's go down a bit. Let's go down to 10x. Give this a little bit more. Let's try 119. 120 was having weird issues. 3950x. What do they go for these days? Kind of annoying how EasyTune always starts up minimized like that. Let's have a look at the rankings. Beating Yas, beating this guy, I don't know any of these people. Ooh, Massman is coming up. Let's see if we can beat El Gapo, whoever El Gapo is. Okay. Your Best Buy card. You still have to pay for it, right? It's not how that works. Let's disable cool and quiet. So if we can see if we can post higher. Didn't pay attention to price. All right. Okay, so specifically, there's no IDE on this. I could have tried IDE, but specifically 120 seems dead. Let's see if we can, if it's some sort of FSB hole and we can. What does that mean, Tobias? Okay. Let's pull the old CMOS battery. That's why I put the GPU in the bottom slot so I can pull the battery more easily. Let's give 125 a quick try, and if we end up with the same thing, let's do CPU valids. So these are my other chips. I don't think I've mentioned it before. 3870K. This is a delidded 3870K, by the way. I don't know how I can best show it. I don't have a desk cam today. I'm not going to run that today though. I have a non-delidded 3870K. And an Athlon as well, top end Athlon. These weird hangs. Let's try. Yeah, the actual clear CMOS jumper. That's not a good idea, is it? Okay, that really seemed to actually clear it. Okay, back to where we were. So we said we were going to try 125. DRAM back to how loose it was. Uh, 1.025. It's funny every time I look at it. Yeah, €700. That's a bit too rich for me. Actually, let's just set everything else. Oh, there are BIOS profiles. I should probably make a BIOS profile. So used to 939. A 102, E5, 26. Okay, so it's detecting the drive. That's also an old Gigabyte disease. Sometimes when you hit F10, it just powers down instead of restarting like it says it's going to do. 52, 6. Ooh, it is a BCLK hole. Weird. Okay, I was just trying to boot off of the USB, I think. We've got GTX 58 in the chat. Welcome, welcome. People keep talking about BCLK holes, but I hardly ever actually experience them. There we go, 125. Where's the settings on this thing? What does this mean? Oh no. It's gonna try and open the website. No. Can I kill it and bring it back? $155. There we go. Okay, obviously the range of BCLKs you can get in OS for a given post BCLK isn't going to magically go up. So if you're posting 5 higher, you're going to get 5 higher in OS typically, unless you have some sort of other hard limit in place. So So we got a 155, but we didn't get a 160. Let's hopefully fix that now. Could be a hard limit. Yeah, that's a good cue, White Shark. I will go into Team Cup in a second. What I'll do now, though, while this is hopefully posting, just gonna throw on a video because I just need to take a break. Try and be back as soon as possible. Yes, yes, yes. Just timed it perfectly for the end of the video. It's cold in here. All right. I think we might be maybe reaching the end of the line here. Let us. What was that video, by the way? That was Tom's Hardware. It's actually on the main Tom's Hardware YouTube. Pentium 4. It's a 748. 478, I mean. So I'm starting to get a sneaking suspicion that there's just all these weird BCL K-holes here. So I'm just going to go up 5, see what happens. I come back for the Team Cup stuff, White Shark, but maybe you can tell us what your favorite Team Cup stage is. I'd be interested in that. And are you going to bench it? You're on Team Hardware Reactor, right? These days. Okay, that seems to be the end of that. Let's do max valids. So in the system we've got, well, I guess we just go 27 is stock. Can just go stock and adjust both multi and vCore in OS pretty much. Maybe just to illustrate the point with max frequency. So I was just gonna say it does go above 200. So where's Nay? Nay. Yeah, so Nay's one of his absolute max valid was at 208 bus clock. Yeah, G skills, Kingpin memory. CPU died. I wonder what you have to. RMA master. 7 years ago. Seems so much longer ago. But I guess he was also trying to do CPU frequency. That's what I'm taking from that. Let's go 1.5. I'm just gonna bin on this air cooler. It's just I need to have a like for like comparison. Okay, so the 3670K 06 DDR4. What? I don't get it. Yeah, default clock is 2.7 gigahertz. Let's go auto everything here. Ah, the memory clock. Okay, let's lower memory clock. Don't want to mess with that. Okay, this should post. This is stock. This is bone stock. A 1, 9F, 26, 50 something, then 75. Oh, straight into 96. Okay, that should load. Okay, so this is the chip we've got in here. One of the Koreans named GT did FM1. Well, that is a surprise. Well, keep we can't just all just casually buy the 3950X. It's Team Cup, right? I think the fact that we have a bencher with a 3950X and LN2 is already way above average. I think that the Germans, the Ukrainians, there's a few teams that may not even have that. So the fact that it's trash is sort of immaterial, and there's so many stages too, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. You could RM8 or something, or like, I don't know, just grab another one. So I'm not sure why it's not showing the right vCore. Hey, what now? You gonna buy a 3950X White Shark? Yes, and we need advanced. So Havli did 3 gigahertz. Let's see if we can beat Havli. Let's go like 1.55. Around here somewhere, and we can shut this down and find a nice fusion tweaker instance. Oh, and I should also disable cores. Well, there's 3.1. We're already not last, but that's all core, so I don't think the BIOS lets me disable cores, so I'll have to do it in OS. There's 3.2. Three point three, 3.4, 3.5. That's triggering though. Let's go up one BCLK just so we can not be on 349999 all the time. Ah, you already have that sorted. Look, OCN, overclock.net is a powerhouse. It's almost as good at Team Cup as Australia is at Country Cup. So just don't get your hopes up is what I'm saying. Yes. How the hell does 1 BCLK equal 39 megahertz? That's a bit weird, but we'll take it. 3.5, 3.6. Now that's 1 gigahertz overclock on an air cooler. By the way, the air cooler came from from a 6800K stock box. Good stuff. Good stuff. $3.8. Okay, that's the end of that. Let's double check if we can disable cores in BIOS. Otherwise, we're gonna go the route of disabling in Windows. All right. All right, downcoring is going on here. So we've got a couple of LN2 scores here. It would be nice to get number 1 on air. Dan Jax, never heard of this person. Let's check it out. Using high QPI, 1.7. I don't know about that. That seems a little high. What did name GDT do? All core. Okay. Oh, I'm tired. It's just middle of winter. A windy day out. Affects my motivation for sure, but let's continue. So we've downcored. We should be on 1.55, but let's double check that in Easy Tune. Who do you have on your team, White Shark? Is it is Bullshooter in there? I always get confused between, I think there's Reloaded and there's another German team, and to me they're always just the same, but maybe I shouldn't treat them like that. So we were able to do 3.8 something last time. Let's see if we can cleanly do 3.9 with the cores disabled. No. All right. Next step will be 1.6 vCore. Let's check the CPU temps for a second. So Bullshooter is on hardware reloaded. Seems totally fine. Hold on. Minus gives me plus voltage. I'm just hitting minus on my numpad and it's giving me plus voltage. Random. I suppose they mean minus, by minus they mean move up in the menu, which somehow then equates plus to plus voltage. Right. Nope, no valid. I might just have to, well, this person did 1.7 vCore, so let's do another 50 millivolts and see what happens. Hey Samza, what's going on in Chile? Hopefully you're staying safe over there. We're about to get our second wave, but to be honest, Australia has slightly different standards in how they define a second wave. It's like 200 new cases a day, so it's not good, but can't get too upset about it. Comparing that to whatever it is, like 15,000 new cases in Florida or something. Let's just see if we can get 38, 39 stable again. No. I'm not seeing much scaling anymore. This must literally be the first time I've ever used the actual retention bracket on an AMD socket. It's just because I literally just bought the board. I thought the box was funny. All of these stickers on here are all these little things like dual link DVI, as if that's a big feature to have. And then the really funny one is Vantage, 5,600 plus in Vantage. Yes, amazing. Now we're on like 56,000. Okay, let's try a 38 multiplier with BCLK, basically. Huh. Hello to the green guy. Maybe we're a bit too high. Let's... Oh yeah, there's a few things we can try. We can try higher multi, so we don't have to change too much in OS. And we can actually go back down here because that didn't do anything. So Samza, what are you benching? Oh, you're on in OCN as well. What? So I'm nearly finished with this chip. Once I'm finished with this chip, I will talk about Team Cup in more detail. I think we're nearly at the end for this chip, but I have 2 more to try. Yeah, the US is having it tough. That's for goddamn sure. But yeah, maybe in terms of number of cases and stuff, Australia isn't doing very badly at all, but we are due to go into another lockdown, it seems, so, which is not fun. Not fun at all. Okay, I'm happy with that. Shut off the system and let's talk about Team Cup. So I like the format of Team Cup this year for sure. Not Team CPU, Team Cup. Last year I was kind of new to OCN. Let's just pull up the thread actually. I think that makes a little bit more sense. the last page or the second last page? Okay, so here's the stages. Let me just talk about what I like about the stages first, and then I can talk about what stages I'm likely to bench or excited about. Always nice to have 939 represented. I originally put forward the idea of a stage where there's 4 submissions in the stage, and the hardware requirements are pretty similar for all the, well, have to be pretty much similar for all the 4 submissions, but you would have single card, dual GPU, triple GPU, quad GPU. Now what it turned into from leagues, with leagues input basically was to have that split between DDR 2, 3, 4 and so on. It's also interesting. We'll see how it goes. Like running 06 on a single core, it's pretty crazy. It's very inventive, and DDR4 4 cores and 4 GPUs. I do have the hardware for that, so we'll see. But I suppose the interesting new thing as well is that there's only 2 submissions per stage. So it's gone from, like last year for OCN, we had so many people capable of running certain stages that we had just a really good breadths, like a good, which hardware? What do you mean which hardware? Like we had, it's just, I think for a big team it's easier to do well when there's lots of submissions, whereas with only 2 submissions per stage, most of them. Oh yeah, okay, I was gonna do this later, but so 06 quad SLI quad core. I don't have a 7700K, but as multi-way GPU stuff is mostly about tweaking anyway, I don't think that will matter much. I would run, if I were to run this stage, I would run 6700K on the Maximus 9 GTX 980 non-TI. Okay, so 3D Mark 99 is just such, it's such a wacky thing. Like when there's a Y cruncher stage, what do you mean SLI hack? Maximus 9 Apex supports 4-way. There's tons of 4-way on the Apex. Like, I don't know what would be a good example. Like, I guess Firestrike. Let's try Firestrike. Can't really search. Or even like 3 Mark 11. I thought it did support 4-way. Maybe I'm wrong. Apologies for that. I really thought it supported 4-way. Is that why everyone's running ATI and AMD cards for like legacy? Anyway, I mean I would look into the SLI hack anyway for the newer cards. And I have the 580s, 680s, so it's 06, so it doesn't matter. I would probably just run 580s then if 980 doesn't work. So so yeah, I mean, a few times we've had Y cruncher stages, and I like Y cruncher as a bench, even though it's unranked. But then 3D Mark 99 is another level of sort of unrankedness, in my opinion. 580, but there was a result there. Where is it? Here. 7600K, 4 580s, and I assume it's an Apex. I mean, what else could it be? Oh, the sock force, but that is probably the same thing. Anyway, back to this. So yeah, 99. I'm so unfamiliar with. There's only 3 stages. They've left out DDR4. I don't know. I just don't see myself running that, and I don't really have the hardware for it anyway. Unigine Basic, always nice to see that in any competition, because it became unranked. Well, Extreme became unranked a couple of years ago. 03, one of my favorite 3D benches. That's nice to see. And then like superposition, yeah, I don't know about that. Intel iGPU for DDR3 is an interesting pick. I have a lot of HD 2900 XTs and Pros, so I might get invested in that. There's a lot of AM4, and I really don't have AM4 much anymore. I don't have the current gen, so I don't know about that. I'm a little bit tempted by memory frequency on 754, but I killed my LAN party, so DDR2 on AM2 Plus is an interesting concept. DDR3 CAS 10 seems interesting as well. CAS 15 DDR4, I don't know about that. What annoyed, I have to say, I'm sorry, but I have to say it annoyed me that they're mandating Benchmade for 32M. I know it's a way to make it easier to moderate, but I was really keen to. I mean, I have a few. First of all, it used to be AM3, AM3 Plus, and then they narrowed it down to Zambesi, and I only have a Zambesi with a dead memory channel, so that's not great. And I have one working chip as well, but that's I understand what they're getting at there, because Vishera is the much more popular option there, but I don't know about that. Same with DDR4 with Benchmade. I don't know. I don't like Benchmade in the first place, and then it also means that XP is banned, which it's like, I don't know. That doesn't really make any sense to me. You know, like XP is the 32M OS, and now you're banning. I mean, you're not explicitly banning XP, but Benchmade doesn't run on XP, so you're basically banning it through the back door. So, but quad core DDR2 is an interesting concept as well. 754 again. I just don't even know what the second best 754 chip board would be. You know, I have a couple of years ago I bought Venice chips for that Venice only, I think, W prime stage. But yeah, now, and Cinebench 2003 on notebooks, no thanks. Interesting concept, but just not for me. GPU Pi stage and W prime, I don't know, Duron is way out there, but I respect them for having thought of that architecture. But let's look at, I sort of put together a temporary, or sort of like a preliminary priority list. So since I have that 7.5 gigahertz plus multi-core FX 8350, and I have a Crosshair 5Z on the way, which I want to try. Okay, that was annoying me. As long as well as the Crosshair 5, that's definitely what I'm gonna do. I want to rerun multi-core cold on that particular chip anyway. So that's, I mean, that's the absolute, you know, guarantee. Like, it would be quite unlikely for someone in the team, or maybe anyone benching Team Cup, to have as good of a multi-core chip as this. But France, like Kikone or whatever his name is, and Newell, there's a few guys in France who have really good multi-core FX chips. So if France shows up, that would be interesting. But otherwise, what I'm aiming for, I'm not saying it's going to happen. What I'm aiming for in that stage is the best sub in the entire stage. But I do have to work out my efficiency on AM3 Plus, because anytime I've tried to run that bench on cold, it's run twice as slow as I expected it. So there's something weird going on. I have to like, build a new OS just for GPU Pi, because I do know that the SDKs kind of interfere with one another. Now, I originally had GPU Pi 100M 939 as my second most prioritized bench in the entire Team Cup, but that was before I realized that there was obviously dual cores and single cores, and I have like 13 single cores and only 2 dual cores. But my Optron 180 is okay, but there are other Optron 180s in the team, and since it's limited by unique CPU, and my Manchester is really, really bad, so unless I can find another dual core, I may have to give up on that idea, even though I've done a ton of 939 benching already in preparation for Team Cup. If I can't source another dual core, it'll just be, I have the will to run this stage, but not really sure that I'll have the hardware for it. Yeah, so I don't know about this O3 stage. I'm not entirely sort of really, really motivated by the stage, but it's definitely one that I could contribute a lot, just because I've run cold 3D for current gen AMD before. Cold on the CPU. W Prime AM2, I have been in the process of binning 6000 pluses and 6400 pluses already anyway. I have a M2RSH or M2RS without the H, so I've got all the hardware to run that, so that's why that's so high up. Yeah, I have Pukey Face next to 32M Sambesi because I really wanted to run it. I was very interested because it's multiplier limited as well, and I have a few tricks up my sleeve for high BCLK on AM3 and AM3 Plus. So that would have been interesting, like trying to run a nice efficient 32M on 400 plus BCLK. But now that's got to be Windows 7, because I was hoping that whatever lessons I learned there would be transferable to actual just all out 32M. But optimizing 32M on Win 7 is a completely different thing to Windows XP. Memory frequency, yeah, just because I'd have the 8350 FX8350 cold anyway, that might be something that would be interesting. I've been trying to get some memory frequency subs going on cold. Where is that? Yes, so not reference frequency, memory frequency. So on AM3, obviously it's pretty weak sauce. It's like 2400, but AM3 Plus, surprisingly, is actually pretty much around the same as FM1. So that's another I thought I had a breakdown somewhere. I have so many notes. Oh my god, I have so many notes. So many benching notes. I'm a bit... Yeah, here we go. So this is so interesting, right? Like, the AM3 Plus record is within a couple of megahertz of FM1. It's like I've heard that basically they outsourced the production of the IMC. I don't know, was it AM4 or AM3 Plus, but maybe, just maybe, there was like the IMC was just the same on FM1 and AM3 Plus. It kind of makes sense. And people did it on CFR as well. I wonder if you would get more out of MFR, but that's kind of debatable as well. So yeah, and then the 940BE for memory frequency could be interesting as well. I haven't looked into this Firestrike stage much yet. I have a 4770K, but that's golden, so I don't really want to risk it running goddamn iGPU stuff. I also have a golden 4690K, but I think that might have less shaders. So Vantage on the 2900 series, tough on the CPU side because I would have to learn DDR2 LJ775, but I do have like GPUs for it, and I want to kind of hard mod them and run, maybe even use the EV, not EV bot, you know, the thing, the I2C interface basically to clock these cards. Yeah, a lot of this other stuff I may not get to. I would probably say that this would be sort of around here is where I would realistically get to. And I wouldn't even potentially run all of these stages. I would just be able to do some of these, like 3 of these or something. And just for fun, this is the list of stages that I absolutely do not want to do. You know, things like Notebook, 3D Mark 99, then the old 06 stages, that just sounds painful. Some of the memory frequency stages where I just don't have the hardware or the motivation to buy the hardware. Stuff like HD 4000 plus Wolfdale, it's kind of weird. Anyway, hopefully, White Shark, that's enough of an overview there. I'm going to throw a different chip into the board and see what happens. It's time for the 3870K. Look at that perfect square left behind by the pre-applied thermal paste on the stock cooler. I love it. Hopefully the GD900 is actually not better performing than this paste. I don't want to give this chip an unfair advantage. We have a post. Whoever's new on the chat, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're now onto the top end chip on the FM1 platform. As my display craps out again. This Acer 240 Hz benching screen I have is annoying for auto detect. It's nice that it's 240 Hz, but otherwise it's just a bit of a pain in the ass. So I think we need to start at plus 100 millivolts. And yeah, let's see if we can do like 3.4 or something. Hi, Annihilanic. Hopefully I didn't screw that up again. Yeah, the NBN maintenance actually just finished before I even went live. They said it was going to be at 12 noon and going to take a few hours, but it was done at 9 a.m. and I don't know, that's just seems weird. Why did I bother specifying a time? They could have just said there may be disruptions all day long on Wednesday, but maybe that's just bad publicity or something. I am on the FM1 platform, the oldest APU platform by AMD. So we don't want to mix up our valids, so call this 3670K. It's a nice quick 3.6 valid. 3.8. Are we gonna crack the 4 gigahertz? Probably not, but let's try. 3.9 applies, but the other chip did that too. The question is, does it validate? It does validate. Nice. And it still seems sort of stable. Yeah. Famous last words. Okay, I think this time I'm gonna pre-apply 1 BCLK up, so I can then attempt 4G without having to reopen Easy Tune. I have a feeling they probably all scale to roughly about the same spot, so I'm just gonna give it a little bit more VCore as well. It's cold in here. So 1 BCLK up. It's fingerless gloves. Actually seems a tiny bit worse than the last chip. So the last chip validated 3.84. This one blue screened on it. Maybe a dud. But let's go back into BCLK overclocking then. The fact I don't remember my 3670K being all that great compared to my first 3870K, and now that early indications are that my second 3870K is worse. Just to give you an idea, this is what my first 3870K did. So that's right. I was trying to do 6 gigahertz, and this is how close I got. It was just insane, and it was infuriating because it's just such a benchmark on this platform. I try to sort of get the milestone on every platform. So it's 6 gigahertz on FM1, 8 gigahertz on FM2, 6 gigahertz on FM2 plus, like 4 gigahertz on 939, that kind of thing, 8 gigahertz on AM3 plus, 7 gigahertz on AM3. There's just these marks that are not insanely hard to hit, but just nice to get them. And this one, for whatever reason, I really tried, but I could only get to, in terms of valids, 5999.32, and there's no fractional BCLK control, so 1 BCLK at 40 multiplier, is already quite a jump. Yeah, so not ideal. I think I attached, yes, so 6 would apply, but you couldn't validate it. So that's on the valid side. On the actual benching side, the chip was much worse, but apparently that's normal for this platform, that you can validate up to 6, but you may only be able to bench like 5.1 or 5.2. Hmm, 156 FSB is interesting. So anyway, let's go BCLK mode again. So I think we're booting 125. Stock voltage on the CPU. That's all it took, wasn't it? I should probably disable automatic recovery. So 155 or above is the target. Let's see if this is a board limit or like a memory limit. Well, memory is unlikely, but 150, 155. Let's try a sneaky 158. For some reason that didn't apply. Is there some sort of a hard limit? Weird. Okay. Let's just try posting higher then. That's a boot. How's the stream rate going? Still going. Lots of LED activity going on there. Still need to tidy up my bench room. Okay, it's posting higher and it's setting higher, but maybe I need set FSB. Not sure if that's a thing on this platform, but let's give it a go. Probably off stream at this point though. So can I set it 159? No, 157.158. Let's see if we can use the clock drift to our advantage. Weird. Well, we know what that means. It means we have to post over 160. Clearly, that's the solution to this. Okay, but this chip does seem a bit stronger on BCLK. That's good to know. Just need to get around the software limitations. Yeah. You know what? Why not try it? 5-0? Is it gonna stick on 5-0 or C3, 01, 9F, E5, 26? That looks good. Yeah, okay. All right, we need to revisit the BCLK aspect of things, but let's try our last chip, which is an Athlon 651K. Almost done with this tub of GD90. So the sort of thing I could try for getting a better core binning result is also use PS check, because there's two modules inside of the core, like I was demonstrating here. So here I only clocked the second core high and clocked the first core low on LN2. Okay, so so stock frequency of 3. As well. So this is basically the non-APU version of 3870K in terms of bin. Let's do this. This is definitely going to be the best of the lot. I can feel it. 3.8 is good to go. 3.9 applies. Let's see if it validates. Hmm. Inconclusive results so far, I would say, on pretty much all of the chips. Let's have another quick look in here. So 3.84 max valid on this. 3.9 validated on. Okay, so I was mixing up the multipliers. I thought this chip maxed out or didn't validate 38 at 101 BCLK, but it actually validated 39. So that is a bit better than the other one, which maxed out at 38 at 101. This chip, I'll have to throw in a little bit of BCLK. All right, that's nice. So this is now on par with the 3670. All right. On that note, I did want to show one last thing before I go offline, though. I just had a new thermometer basically come in. So previously I've been using the Asus OC panel, or I have this 4-input one. It's quite nice. I don't know if you can see that, but you can certainly see it on the screen. 4 inputs. So I got a Fluke because I got a good deal on a Fluke, but it's turned into not so good a deal, I think, because it actually arrived from the US with battery acid leaked all over the battery compartment, and I thought it was actually dead. So we're reading 21.1 here. I thought it was dead because it wouldn't power on even with the battery swapped. So I put some lemon juice in there, and it says calibration due to, I don't know if you can read that, but I just read it out to you. Calibration due 31st of March 2018. And I thought that would be okay. Calibration is basically almost the same price as the unit again. But I'm starting to suspect that it does require calibration. I know K-types aren't supposed to work well at room temperature, but I've got a 1 degree delta between the two probes using the same, between the two thermometers using the same probes, and that could be okay, but this is a dual input, and I also have something weird going on with the second input, having a delta of like 4 degrees to the first one. So I'm inclined to think that the most offset I can apply is -5 or minus or +5. So I already have an offset applied. So actually trying to read, basically trying to read both of them with no offset applied, which I'm just setting up now. Okay, so this is no offset. They're off by like 8 degrees now. Now I don't know what that's gonna do. I can swap the probes as well. It's not a probe thing. So clearly one or both of them is not calibrated correctly. But what you can see, let's just assume for argument's sake that input number 1 is the one that is completely bang on, and input 2 is 10 degrees off. If I now compare it to this probe, or this thermometer rather, let's see if I can somehow set this up that you can see it. It changes much more quickly. Like it reacts much more quickly to changes in temperature. Where's our light? You can see that. So now handle both of them with my hands and transfer body heat to them. Oh, polarity is reversed on this one, I think. On the Fluke, you can't actually attach the K-type with the polarity wrong, but on the nondescript one you can. So when I was increasing the temperature, it was actually going down. What's up with the light? Very faint. I think you can kind of tell that the Fluke is just more reactive to temperature in general. But as I said, well, Matthew WRS, you just you just joined at the very, very tail end of the stream, but thanks for joining anyway. So basically, in summary, dual input fluke, as Lumi will tell you on his videos, is great. It's really, really accurate if it's calibrated right, and I highly suspect that at least one of these inputs is not calibrated right, unfortunately. And because I use a shipping forwarder to get stuff from the US, this has turned from a bargain to a problem child, because it's now past the 30-day returns policy. So even if I wanted to initiate a return, I couldn't, because the way it works for me is I'll buy a ton of stuff in the US, get them all shipped to my forwarder, get them put into one box. Eventually, after I have enough stuff accumulated there, and then forward that one box. So I bought this fluke in May, and it now showed up at my doorstep now with leaky batteries in the battery compartment and calibration that's off, and I just have to kind of deal with it. Anyway, that is the end of today's stream. I may get LN2 next week, not really sure. Most likely next stream, next Wednesday, hopefully LN2 prep, because I always get my LN2 deliveries on a Friday. So thank you all for sticking around. Interesting platform today. Hopefully I've exercised the gremlins a little bit, because last time I streamed that I was accused of cheating in GPU Pi. So hopefully clean stream today. Until next time, thanks for watching.